Ever tried watching your athlete's game from anywhere in the world? With Replayer, you actually can. I had a friend watch his son's game live from his flight. My son watched a live game from the car while we were driving up the California coast. It doesn't matter where you are, grandparents across the country, cousins on the other side of the world, teammates who just moved away, set up the camera, hit go live, and everyone with a link is right there on the sideline. Live streaming is free. Unlimited games, unlimited teams, unlimited users. No complex tiers. Everyone gets access. And forget waiting hours for footage. I recorded a 60-minute game and it was ready in 5 minutes. Players were clipping highlights on the ride home. One camera, made in the USA, unlimited everything. If you never want to miss those moments, head to replayer.com. The link is in the show notes. Family-owned Soccer Innovation is your go-to source for top quality equipment. Whether you're a player, a supportive family member, or a dedicated coach, they have everything you need to elevate your game. For players, their innovative equipment are designed to boost your skills and performance on the pitch. From their agility cones to their portable goals, they have you covered. And family members, they offer durable equipment that's built to last because we know your support is critical to your player. Coaches, trust me, they can provide the equipment you need to run effective training sessions and shape the next generation of soccer players. Visit Soccer Innovations at soccerinnovations.com to start elevating your game with them. And if you use the code PITCH, PITCH, you can receive up to 10% off your next order. Hello and welcome back to Chat by the Pitch. This is Ian Babcock, your host. Today I am joined by Gabriel of XbotGo, and we get into how AI sports cameras are letting parents put down the phone and actually be present at their athletes' games, capturing every moment without missing a single one. It's a conversation about accessibility, ownership, and protecting the joy of soccer for players, families, and coaches. So let's start this chat and head to the pitch.
My name is Gabriel Roxas, and I'm the Public Relations Manager for XbotGo. We're an AI sports camera company, and we are all about making the process of videography on game day easier, more enjoyable, more effective, better quality, and accessible to everyone. We're about democratizing the experience of videography for sports.
The word I hummed in on what you just said was accessible to everyone. I think that's a very important thing to talk about because the price of, I'm not going to talk about the camera that I have used, it's the Falcon. Compared to all the other cameras on the market, it's very accessible. I think it runs for, $6.99 right now. I think it's the promotion. And that might change in the future.
Falcon is $6.99, and then the Chameleon is $3.29. So there's two different price points there.
And what I like about the Falcon, it's an all-in-one. With the other camera, is you attach your cell phone to it, and to me that freaks me out a little bit because that's more expensive. But the Falcon, which I actually got a chance to play with, I was very appreciative of my daughter's team for letting me be responsible for the camera and everything, and getting a chance to play with it outside of it. But you talked about accessibility, and the price point is great. I can't really complain about that. If you're going in with that mindset, you know exactly what you're getting. And watching my daughter's 7v7 match was great, which is a little bit, the field that they played on was slightly smaller than a 9v9 match, so I know it would be great. I got to do my son's 11v11 match, which was pretty cool to watch, and I was able to share the live stream with all of his teammates' parents, and so that everyone that wasn't able to make the game was able to watch it, and we're very grateful.
Oh, we love it. That's one of the biggest things is, like, for the people who can't be there at all, they're not going to miss it. It's also for the people who are there. Sometimes you're there, and if your face is stuck in your phone the whole time, you're missing it too. So it's really about allowing the people on the sidelines to actually be present in the game. And for a sports parent, it's actually letting them be present in their child's moment as opposed to being their own videographer.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think it's hard to be both. And looking at it from that perspective, it's very hard. And as a parent, you want to be in the moment and you want to be there. So this brings me to a little bit more about who you are. So when did you grow up playing sports? Did you grow up with soccer? Where did you fall in love with the game? Or Or are you just a sports enthusiast?
Sure. Yeah. So I was very fortunate to grow up in a suburban area that had Little League baseball, youth basketball, youth football, recreation departments that coordinate those activities. I'm Generation X, so I actually missed the ascent of soccer as the primary sport for kids in America. So when I was growing up, soccer was something that I only knew a few kids who played soccer. For the rest of us, it was mostly baseball, basketball, flag football. And then for me personally, eventually my sport of choice became tennis. Then I became more serious about martial arts. So for soccer specifically, I'd say it really wasn't until I got to college and I met international students and everything who really taught me that what soccer meant to them, and I could relate to it on a level of other sports that I had been passionate about. I was a little bit late to the game for soccer, but nonetheless, particularly with World Cup mania coming now, I think everybody can really have a passion for soccer and really come to appreciate the game itself. For us, we have cameras that are great for multiple team sports, virtually every team sport, but for sure, basketball and soccer are the sports that we have the most users who are actively using our devices.
You talked about finding it late. I was in my mid 30s when I found soccer. So don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everyone understands, like, it's when you find that point and you find that team or that player or that moment. And I think that's with all sports. I can remember when I fell in love with baseball, and I remember I never fell in love with football or basketball, but I did fall in love with baseball. I still remember turning on the TV and watching the 96 World Series, watching Cal Ripken Jr. play and hitting his game streak. I think it was in those games he hit his all-time game streak or something. We all have those moments, and it's those aha moments. I can remember the first time I watched Son and Henry Kane playing a Tottenham Spur game. So you can always find those moments. So yeah, I always tell people, like, it's never too late to fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, and I think for that doesn't just apply to soccer either. I remember whenever the Olympics come on, you'll talk to friends and are you really into curling? It's like, well, I'm a sport fan. And I had a friend of mine explain to me, I'm just a sports fan. I didn't grow up following this, but it only takes me a second to just get into the competitive spirit of it all. And whatever your sport of choice is, you can quickly relate to the people who that's their world. It's the same spirit. And I think that if you love any sport with devotion, it's easy to relate to someone if it's someone who grew up in Brazil and soccer is their American football or American pastime, whether that's baseball or whatever your sport of choice is. I think once you develop that early spark that you start to see it, that can turn into an obsession. And I think I'm hearing that for you too, particularly when if you have a family member or particularly a child who it becomes their thing, then you can go all in on expert.
Yes. But there's certain things I won't go through. So your background, where did you get? So let's start with your background. So you got into XbotGo from where?
Sure. So my background is I was a journalist for many years. And so I was a professional storyteller. And a lot of us get to the point in our journalism career. I worked in 5 different markets. I was specifically a TV reporter. And I worked in 5 different markets across the country. And a lot of us get to the point where we're looking to a post-journalism future. So it's a very natural transition. So many people do it. They get into some form of public relations, marketing, strategic communications. So I made the transition into PR and marketing, and I had a chance to do a couple of different roles where I represented different kinds of global brands. And then Go was really my first opportunity to have a single brand to focus on it. And that's something I had been looking for. It's a great feeling to be promoting a company, a brand, a line of products where you can really believe in them and really, really know that what your whole mission is about, in this case, is giving people joy. What we're doing is we're making people's lives better through technology, and specifically AI, specifically physical AI. It's an exciting space to be in, and particularly with a lot of times the narrative around artificial intelligence is it's these doomsday scenarios and all of the fear of what AI will bring to the future. And I'm not discounting all of that, but I think we forget about how much better it's making our lives, how much better it's already made our lives in terms of the options that we have. People can always abuse any technology and become too dependent on it and misuse it, and that's always a possibility. But it's important to realize sometimes you can just sit back and think, I live in an age where my car can drive itself if I want it to. That's like the Jetsons when I was growing up. I mean, I'm so grateful to have lived long enough to see that future. And so on a simpler level, when we get to something like the experience of watching your child play youth sports, we see a challenge there. That is, there is the act of shooting video can be a real burden, and it can be so much of a burden that it limits your ability to actually experience the thing that you're trying to preserve, because you're completely focused on setting up the camera, holding the camera, getting the moment right. All of these things that most parents are not professional videographers. So what XbotGo's products do is it allows parents, athletes, coaches to outsource the act of videography to the device itself. And the camera is autonomous. It does the work for you. You can set it up, you can let it go, and then you can actually experience the game and you can be present in your child's moment, and it's a much more satisfying experience. So it's technology that is making the life experience better.
I think that's so important as a parent because we spend so much time with our kids. I can't tell you how much I will be holding the camera in my hand. My head will be following the action and my camera will be staying straight forward. And I'll completely miss it. Or I'm holding my phone, fumbling with it, trying to get to the camera mode because somehow I accidentally switched to slow-mo or photo option. And now I just missed whatever it was, whatever ankle breaking thing or the goal or whatever it may be in the game. I just missed their moment. And you want to share those with families. And now when I got to use the camera system this past weekend, I actually just sent the link to my family, my wife, and to the team, the rest of the parents on the team, so they could go share the link. And most of them were very grateful that they got to have a game to watch, even though they weren't able to make the game. So I was very excited to actually play with the system and share those memories with everyone. I think that's the one thing technology will allow us to do more and more, is share those exciting memories with our friends and family.
And making it easier.
Yes.
As a journalist, I worked with a lot of photographers, a lot of videographers, people who were true artists in terms of videography, cinematography, and it's a very serious art form. I had worked with this photographer who told me sometimes I'll go to a wedding and they don't have their own videographer, and at the last minute they'll just say, "Hey, can you just shoot some video for me?" Like it's nothing. And it's just, forget about me experiencing this wedding. I'm here to work. People don't realize that you can't do both at the same time. If you're experiencing something through the lens, you're not experiencing it with your naked eye, and that's really how you experience it as someone who's actually present and there, as opposed to the person who's doing a job.
And I think that's what most people don't understand, is that you want to be present, but you also don't want to have a full-time job of recording. So having your camera system, there's a few things I had to do along the way. Update the score. Every now and then a soccer ball would come on the field and all of a sudden you'll see it. And this is an issue with all the camera systems that are out there. I'll follow the other ball as it leaves the field. I know the action's over here, and I like that I can manually hit a button and say, nope, get back over to this side of the field. And yeah, it makes it a lot easier, and I like that you can just tap the screen and mark the moments in the game every time there's a corner kick or I'm sitting there watching. So I'm present, but I'm not holding a phone in my hand trying to record. I just okay, time to hit the moment. The corner kick was kicked. I can tap the screen. It's marked. We can go on and really enjoy the game. Yeah, you're talking a few seconds, but I'm not going to be looking at my phone and miss something because I am recording it, or I'm not going to miss the recording, which is a huge thing for parents.
To use a movie analogy, you go from being the cinematographer to being the director.
Yeah, way easier. And taking those moments in the game so I can pay more attention. So as you've moved into your current role, have you learned to, because you said it's about storytelling, and I feel like doing the podcast, that's what I get to do every week. I get to tell a story
Exactly.
of whoever I'm talking to, but now you get to tell a story with thousands of people's stories now. How is the company and how are you all sharing these stories with the general public? Because I know using your product, you can live stream it to your YouTube channel. You can live stream it through the app. You can save it and upload it later and share it. How are you guys handling the storytelling? Because I think that's really important for everyone to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. We have users who are sharing their video with us all the time, and obviously we can use that on our various channels on social and web and everything to share that for people who want to share their video. More importantly, I would just say it's that communication with our users. They will tell us about experience that they had on various forums, and sometimes they talk to us directly, sometimes if that's beta users. And so there's a real connection there in hearing how the devices are used, particularly when we're launching a new model. We're learning things all the time because it's all about refining the software and making it better and better over time. That's true with all of our products. But also for me personally, in my role, one thing I get to do is if somebody posts, so many people just want to say, hey, look what I shot because it's cool. Look at what my kid did. They just want to share it, even the same way you share it with friends and family. They're sharing it with this community of Falcon users and this community of Chameleon users, and they trade tips and everything. And so a lot of times if somebody shares something that they're really excited about, we'll reach out to them and to learn more about it. And sometimes just some extraordinary things. And it's like, hey, we would love to get more attention on that story. We would love to work with you. Sometimes that's telling that story to the media because it's particularly compelling. And so for me, I'm often in touch with users to say, hey, I saw what you posted here. Would you be willing to share that story with the public? And if so, one, would you be comfortable with it? And then two, would you be good at it? If it's TV, do you want to do that? And sometimes that's a whole process of narrowing down those populations and getting the people who are like, hey, and then I'll be in touch with if it's a TV reporter, hey, I can have this person meet you in a park with their child and kick the ball around and demonstrate the product, and this person can tell you how they use it. So a lot of times my role is in terms of media relations, it's making those connections. So finding the users who not only have a story that they want to share, but that they want to share in a public way, and just letting people see how the product is being used in various local communities.
I love it. You talked about a couple other, you have two cameras right now. You have the Chameleon and you have the Falcon. So we're talking about sharing these stories and how they're getting out there. Let's talk about how you record them a little bit more. So the Chameleon, let's walk through that. I have not touched that one yet. I've seen it at the soccer fields and I've seen it a few other places.
Got one right here.
So let's talk about what it is and how families can use it and how it can be helpful for them. And we can talk about price points and where they're at today. Today is April 24th. I'm trying not to date this too much so everyone can use it in the future of 2026. But I want to make sure that the price point, because things do go up in price over time. So in a year from now, it might be $25 more or $50 more. So then you're like, you said in your episode, it's this amount. We're stating right now what the date is, and we can talk about it, the price point.
Good point.
And making sure that we talk about that, because I think that's important, because as a parent, youth sports aren't cheap. And as we go through, we're getting ready for, since it's in mid-April or the end of April, we're getting ready for tryouts and signing new contracts depending on the age groups. And money matters. And the biggest thing is, I've been told, I don't know how many times, there's billions of hours are not being recorded of kids' stories. And it's so important to get them out there, no matter who's doing it or how we're doing it. So that being said, let's talk about the Chameleon and what it is and how families can start using it.
Sure. Chameleon's the product immediately before the Falcon, which was just released, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But in terms of Chameleon, the main difference that you'll notice right away is, so Chameleon, the device itself, has its lens, which is the tracking camera. You use it to cradle your cell phone. So if you have an iPhone, you cradle that in the device. Your phone is actually the recording camera. So it's working in tandem with the camera on your phone. The device tracks the game, the camera shoots the game. So that's the key difference. The Falcon is all in one. It's got both cameras, recording and tracking, self-contained. You don't need your phone for that except to use the app. So Chameleon it's a less expensive price point. Right now it's $329.99, and so very affordable. And if someone were on the fence about whether to get a device like this at all, I would say Chameleon is a great, easy way to just start using a product and see if maybe down the road you might want to upgrade to the Falcon or use both. But Chameleon is a great solution for many families who sometimes they want just something that's very lightweight that they can throw in a bag or a purse. It's a little bit bigger because it's all in one unit. But yeah, no, a lot of people, when they heard about Falcon, they're like, oh, I don't want to buy a Chameleon because I want to wait for the Falcon. But they're both great products, two different price points, so serving two different markets. But Chameleons is a fantastic solution for a lot of sports parents.
I think that's a good one. And I'm not trying to pigeonhole it, but for smaller field applications, it's easier to set up, easy to go, and to fit in smaller spaces where you don't always get on larger space fields. So, or soccer fields, or if you just need to set it up and be quick. I have never used it, so I can't give an honest opinion of it, but the people that I have seen use it really do speak highly of it. I'm always asking questions when I'm at the soccer fields, but I'm also thinking if you have a kid that plays hockey or you play basketball or they play volleyball, that's very compact and easy to set up because you can actually I think you could put it on a monopod and hold it the whole time and get away with it, where the Falcon is a little bit more tricky. I think you need the stability and you need the space to set it up. And I could be wrong, but using the Falcon, that was I don't think I want to be holding a monopod for 60 or 70 minutes of a game or 40 minutes, whatever it may be. But the Chameleon is not. I felt the weight of it. I just have never used it, so it's not a super heavy camera. But yes, I do appreciate you talk about the price point. That is a huge thing. It's a great way to the entry. I'll call it the entry to camera recording of AI camera systems because it doesn't break the bank. You can set it up. And it does the trick.
And the other benefit of using your phone, just practically speaking, in the beginning when we started introducing this concept, a lot of the problem that this solves is getting people out of their heads, out of their devices. Just the idea of being on the sidelines and seeing all these parents who are just, they're like this the entire game. They're not even watching the game. With Chameleon, you take your phone, you cradle it, and you walk away. And you have that confidence that, okay, my phone is being controlled by the device, so it's got that, and now I can be in the moment. It's kind of like when you go to certain concerts, certain artists will give you the pouch where you put your phone in the pouch so that you're not stuck in your phone the whole time. In a way, putting your phone in the cradle and walking away from it, it cuts that cord to your device and it gives you the freedom to actually pay attention to the game and be in the moment. With the Falcon, since you get to keep your phone, you're going to have to use a little more self-discipline.
I will say, I actually, when I did my daughter's game, I would actually put it in the cup holder of my chair because I wanted to keep it open so we'll get into it in a bit, but using the activities that you can do with the Falcon. I don't know if you can do the same. You can't do the same because your phone is up high and you can't tag things in the moment. So that being said, let's move into the Falcon a little bit. I will go on my little rave here. I love using the camera. It was very simple. I got to set it up. It gives you instructions on how to set it up and what you need to do and how to use it. And then if you play with a few settings, you'll see that, oh my goodness, I have it facing the wrong way. That was my first mistake. And I'll be honest, it's because I was not paying attention to the instructions. I was trying to be, I'm just going to do this on my own. But if you read through the instructions, it tells you exactly what you need to be doing. I put it on the tripod. I turned it on. It turns all the way around. And I'm like, I realized what I did here. I have it setting on the tripod the wrong way. So I turned the whole tripod the right way. I bet there's a setting in there that I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to play with it for hours. So I put it up. I was playing through settings. There's a cool setting that you can change how much it rotates, so it doesn't turn too much off the field or too narrow of the field. And then when you finally get it all set up, and I have to give you guys props for this, a lot of the camera systems have a marking system of the field or the facility that you're in, and you mark the corners, and you have a mark of the midfield. What I like on the right-hand side, it tells you what you're marking and what you've already marked. I am a very distracted person, very easy. A bird goes by, I'm like, where did I leave off? Great, I have to start all over again. And on your camera, it lets me know where I left off. So it's like checks marks as you go and tells you what corner you're marking. So I have to give you guys props for putting that in there right away and having it set up. The only thing my complaint is on a 11v11 field, and this is not just a you issue, I want to be able to pinch and zoom in so I can mark that corner perfectly because my little bit of type 1 personality kicks in that I don't have much of, but when it comes to getting things accurate, marked for that type of stuff, I think it's important because it helps the camera system, I think, better. But that's my only complaint when going through that.
But setting it up was fairly simple. Then hitting live, then I'm sitting there, I'm playing with it. I'm going to share my experience because I think this is important. And I was playing with it. I'm like, oh, there's a scoreboard option. So I click the scoreboard. I'm like, oh, okay, I can set this up. Okay, so let's name this whatever I need to name it. I learned that very quickly. There's a cap, which is probably smart. Otherwise, would have names that are like a paragraph of what the video is. And then I put in whatever many characters it is, and then I went in, I can do my teams. Oh, wow, I can do my team's colors. And because my daughter plays for Villarreal here, it's blue and yellow. And then the team they were playing is blue and white. So my daughter's team was yellow, the other team was blue. I'm like, this is great. I can mark their jersey colors. I can put the little, as much as I can of their name in there, and it shows up with the club's name. And then as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh, I can actually continue going on here. I can actually do the score. So I was like going through the game and tapping the score, and all of a sudden I realized there's this thing that says mark. So I'm like, what does this do? So I hit mark and it says mark. I'm like, oh, it's marking a moment in the game. So as the game is going on, I'm hitting mark every time there's a corner kick, every time there's a goal.
Exactly.
I did it at kickoff, so I know that's after it, so it gives a key point for reference for me that there was a goal and it was accepted. So if I need to go back in, I can go to this point like, oh, this is not a goal. I can delete this out and don't need to worry about giving the parent the highlight of that goal. And then...
No, that's so great to hear. And you're demonstrating perfectly, like, you learn as you go. And it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to catch on. And by the time you've done your second game, you're a pro at it.
And then as I was playing with it, I'm like, oh, there's a live streaming option. And the first time I played with it was at practice. And it was just getting it set up to figure out how to get it to turn on and record. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to get it turned on and see what we could do at a training session. I didn't follow anything because there's 30 soccer balls up the field and it's I'm watching it from a distance and it's just bouncing back and forth because it's trying to follow a soccer ball. When there's so many, it got confused. It was comical as a parent because it's like you as a parent watching the soccer field. Oh, there's a ball. Which one's my kid? Oh, there's my kid. And it was comical to me as a parent because that's how I feel like on the sideline when I'm watching practices. It's like I'm following the ball, and if it all of a sudden it changes order with the kids, like the group that they're playing with. Oh no, I lost track of where I'm at. And I was having a comical moment because that's how I feel as a parent on the sidelines at times during warm-ups or training. I felt like the camera. I couldn't follow. But eventually it just stood still in front of where they were training, and they got most of their session. But I didn't care about what it was going to do in that moment. I wanted to see how it would work. And then when I actually took it to the game that I was able to use it at, the first game, I quickly learned, I went through the process, and so once it's up and running, I can do all the other stuff after I sit down. I don't need to be sitting there. I walked all the way around the soccer field. I sat down in my chair, and I set up. That's when I learned, and I started to mark. I'm like, oh, what does this thing do? So I think, like you said, it's very intuitive. It's very simple to use. And then after the game, I'll have to give you props. It says, would you like to take all of your marks, it's all the marks and make a highlight? I'm like, yes. And like an idiot, I hit yes, and I turned off the camera. I'm like, okay. So the next game I did, I'm like, I'll do it. And it gave me, I'm assuming they're about 30-second clips, maybe 15 seconds. I don't know. I don't know what the time frame is for the clips that it creates. But it created me a 6.5 minute one for my son's game. And it was really nice because I had it set up. I could go through it. And when I did it this time, when I got done, it gave me a clip. So I left it all on as I was taking it down. When I hit stop record, I'm like, I'm going to do it differently this time. And I hit stop record. And it asked me then, and as I'm taking down the camera, by the time I was done taking down the camera, the little video it made for me was done. So it took about 2 minutes to compile that video. And I'm like, okay, I'll look at it later, but I have it saved in the app. And in the app, I can just download it to my phone later. And we get in the car, and I'm like, hey, let's look at your game really quickly. I'm talking to my son. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I have my sound off, and I turn on my track, and all of a sudden I have just music going over the speaker. I'm like, where's this coming from? I hit pause. I'm like, it's the game that automatically put a soundtrack to the game with the clips. And then as the night was going on, I was playing with the app some more. I'm like, you have a little production studio that was created, so you can, if you have the time, you can create all the clips you want from the game film. So I was really impressed with that it's like all in one. So if you're a parent, not even a teen, this is a great way of doing it to get highlights of your kids to send to families or for social media. For me as a parent, it was very simple to use. And I'm like, so I haven't asked other parents, but I realized that everything's an account by account basis. So you have to have your own account, but I learned that you can go in and follow other teams. So you have your own account. I can go in and watch someone else's games if they're live streaming them. I thought that was pretty cool that you guys gave that as an option where if they're willing to make the game public, they can share it with the world. And the more people watching, you guys have a little rating in the corner of how hot your game is and how many people are watching it. So I know people were watching it. I'm texting back and forth with my wife, like how many people are watching this. I know it tells you how many. I can't see it on the screen, but I go, how many people are watching? Because it does tell you in your screen how many people are watching the game. I think she said there was like 3 or 4 people at the time. So I knew it was someone was watching it. And then when I was at my daughter's game, we were all there, so she wasn't watching it on her phone. But I did send out the link, and the mom next to me said, I'm not going to test this out because I'm curious how it works. And she's sitting there watching it on her phone. Like we talked about a little bit ago, like being off your phone, but she watched it for a few minutes in her phone of the game before she looked back up and put her phone away. So I was like, okay, it works great. And because we were trying to see, we're going back and forth how far behind the lag is. No matter what you do, there's always a lag. Is it 3 seconds? Is it 10 seconds? I think it was like a 5-second lag. It was not that long, which is impressive because you're going from cell phone to cell phone and having to bounce around the world, however the circuit goes for the cell phone. It has to go to your server, then back out to the families watching it. So that's pretty quick. So we were very impressed. So I'm excited to go out this weekend and set it up and use it on Saturday for my daughter's game this weekend.
Yeah, and generating those highlights, it's great because you've got both options. If you've got relatives out of town, out of state, other side of the country, if that's grandparents or other relatives, there's some who do want to watch the whole thing streamed live. And then there's the others who was like, just send me the highlights. And you can send those right away. We've got an adult athlete in an amateur basketball league who told us that he can't even get off the court before everybody else in the teams. Let me get my highlights. So it's fortunate that they are available so quickly and everybody can watch their game, whether that's just to enjoy it or sometimes in their case it could be a performance enhancer and then they can see what they did right, what they did that might need some more practice. But yeah, having both of those, having the option to see the complete game live, unedited, and being able to see the parts that have been marked for you as highlights, it's great to have both options.
Is there, this is a question for the future because I know it's not there yet. Will in the future, are you looking at having AI marking things for you, like corner kicks and goals, and looking for those things so it automatically marks it for you all? So when a goal happens, if the ball does not go back to center pitch for soccer, it knows it doesn't count and it just starts over. Like it doesn't add it to the goal. Like you don't have to add in the score, where we can be more autonomous and truly enjoy the moment.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be over the life of the product. We've got constant refinements. We hear feedback from users. This is the type of thing that we would like. And we're able to do firmware updates, software updates that are adding additional sports, adding additional functionality. So I think that over time, it's all about refinement and continuing to make it more user-friendly and offer more options, more features as we go.
As a parent that deals with technology, my biggest complaint is firmware updates or updates. Can you pause the updates? Can you say delay this until later, or does it have to go through in the moment? Do you know? Because I haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to the firmware updates, you pretty much, when there is time for one, I just updated mine, I noticed. And I must say, took all of 5 seconds. And that's not always the case. When I got my first Chameleon right out of the box, I had to update it, and it had to go through several generations. Of course, if you don't do that until you get to the field and then it's a surprise, that can be a little frustrating. That takes a little bit of time. That is going to have to run its cycle to operate. With the app updates, for example, sometimes it's like any other app. Sometimes you can keep using it for a while and then eventually it's going to say you need to update it. For the most part, it is important to keep the software and the firmware updated and check for it as much as possible. If you're using it on a regular basis, you'll be alerted to it, and we would recommend probably that you just power it up and test it out. It's just like checking to make sure the battery's charged. Just make sure that everything's up to date before you're ready to use it in the game.
This is a personal preference. I'm going to throw this out there so everyone knows. So I recorded my son's 11v11 match with it, and so that is 2 30-minute halves, and the 2 30-minute halves, when it was done with the game, it was down to 78%. throwing that out there so people understand battery life. But I also did turn it on 20 minutes before the game started. So it ran for almost 90 minutes plus. It was on. It wasn't recording.
Yeah.
It wasn't streaming. And even after I put it on the live streaming, the battery life didn't go down fast. My phone went down faster than it went down. So I'm just sharing that with everyone because I think battery life is something that's important. So if you have a weekend of tournaments, you might get 2-3 games out of the use of it.
Yeah. You should get about 4 hours, typically.
And that's like, yeah, so you're going to get 2 to 3 games out of it unless you're playing full
Right.
90-minute matches or 75-minute matches. So I'm just throwing that out there. And the other feature I like is you can do a hot swap for memory. If parents don't know what I'm talking about, you have to micro SD cards that you put into it, which is the memory chip. They range from relatively inexpensive to $30. You can spend up to $150 on a high-end one and still get I have 250 gigabyte one. I spent I think $50 on it, and it's the fast recording. It's the fast speed ones. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about with memory cards, you can get different levels of them. And I am a nerd like this, so my work requires me to have fast writing speed for stuff. That means how fast it takes information and writes it to the memory on the product. And the faster it is, the better quality imaging, because it doesn't matter if it's 30 frames a minute, 30 frames a second on the camera. If the writing speed can't keep up with it, it's better to spend that few extra bucks on that memory card so it doesn't get blurry or it doesn't get chunky. So that's just putting that out there for the parents to understand from a technology perspective. It's okay to spend a little bit extra bucks, 250 gigs. My son's game took about 4 gigabytes for that game, which isn't too bad. And for the whole, I turned it on, I think it was a total of an hour and 15 minutes the total runtime was on the camera, because I realized when you pause it, you can pause the recording, which is great, and then hit record and it continues on recording in the same match. But the caveat, just make sure that everyone is still watching it.
And you can use a card up to a terabyte
Yeah.
or 1024 gigs, so a little more than a terabyte.
Right. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
So that one card will hold the whole season. That's what I'm getting at. It doesn't matter what the age level is. 9 games will fit on it, or however many games you play in a season. So it is very impressive that it doesn't take much. As much as 3 gigabytes sounds, look at your photos on your phone, anyone in your settings, you're going to see that 40-second clip that you took, or that 10-minute clip you have of a game that you recorded of your kid's game is pretty big. So just put that in perspective for everyone. So on the technical side, which is boring, but it's important for them to know. Is there anything I missed there? Because I think those are like the little caveats that make or break families' decision making sometimes.
Yeah, and you get 20 gigs of free cloud space too through AWS. That's also helpful.
Yes. What else was there? There was a few other cool little features that I got to play with. But yeah, that was the other thing. We talked about it. I don't know if we went into details, but there's a whole editing app. So you have a whole production studio. So you can go take the film, mark your spots, cut them out, and start editing the video right there in the spot on your phone inside the app. I haven't actually published them or saved them. I just wanted to see what the capabilities of it was. So it was pretty... It's no different than the rest of the apps that are out there for editing, so I can probably name a handful that I use, and it's no different than them. So I was very impressed with that, because you're the first one that I think I've seen with that capability inside the app that's not AI driven.
Yeah. No, I love that you got a chance to play with all those features. I think also it's important to point out for people who might be hearing this and they're just like, oh my God, that sounds like a lot of work. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just set it up and record it and you got it. So you have that whole spectrum of options. You can do as deep a dive into it as you like, and we try to give you as many bells and whistles to play with. But at the simplest level, you can also just set it and forget it. For the most part, you're going to have everything that you wanted out of it, and you get to watch the game. So
I will have to say this was a really cool feature when recording. So with my daughter's games, there was a bunch of soccer balls going on the field, and any camera loses the ball. I don't care who you are, it sees the ball come on the field, and all of a sudden, oh, squirrel, and it starts following that ball. And what I was able to hit a button on the left-hand side of my screen, and it pops up like a little joystick type thing on the screen, and I'm like, go back to the left. Go back to the game action. As soon as I saw the ball in the field, I no longer had to touch it. It continued following the ball, the correct ball in the field, which was very nice to see, because at the end of the day, that's a feature that it's fun watching my friends have cameras, and all of a sudden you see the camera just scanning the field for the ball, but it's so far off in the corner it keeps on missing it because they didn't goes back to that marking that you have to do in the beginning. It knows that it has to scan corner to corner then. So I think that's important for parents to understand. Like, setting it up and going is great, but setting up the four corners of the pitch and the far side marking is an important feature to get, because it sets up the perimeter for the field to be, or the whatever you're looking at, the court, whatever it may be, so it knows where to look for action. So I will say it's pretty cool watching it move. It's a mechanical device following the ball. So it's a lot of fun watching it, because most cameras just sit there and they don't do anything.
Right.
They have normally 3 lenses and that's it, and then they have to stitch them all together. You guys aren't doing any of the stitching, which is impressive.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's very important. And then that's what we mean when we say true 4K. But yeah, no, in terms of the physical movement of it, I agree. It's exciting to see that. And that's what we mean when we talk about physical AI. You've got AI that is manipulating objects in real life. And just like earlier when we were talking about the car that can drive itself, it really does open up the options of how much can be covered, how much can be done, and how much capability it has.
Is there any, we talked earlier and you talked about there was an announcement this past week, and which I think is really cool. You guys partnered with, I will say it wrong in my
TeamSnap. Yes.
I was going to say the other company that does that stuff, and I know it was, I even wrote it down here and I have it underlined to make sure I said it right.
We're so excited to be partnering with TeamSnap and to be able to talk openly about it, because it's been in the works for a little bit now. But no, TeamSnap, for so many people, they're already using that platform for scheduling, for registration, for communication. So very soon, people who are using TeamSnap 1, they'll also have the option to bring streaming into it. They'll be able to access their XbotGo camera directly from the TeamSnap app. So everything will be all in one. So it's a complete end-to-end experience, and it'll just make things even easier. You'll always have the ability to control it through the XbotGo app, but if you're already using the TeamSnap 1 platform, this will make it so much easier to bring everything into one ecosystem.
I like that. The simpler things are, the better it is. I don't like having complexity in my life. I already have enough stupid apps on my phone.
I'm sure you probably have, for one sport, you might have to use this app for this function, and this app for registration, and this app for something else. So to make it all one streamlined experience is very helpful.
With that being said, is there other things you guys have in the future? I know you can't say what they are, but is there other things in the works for the future? Is we're going to see more great enhancements coming in the future? Are we going to see possibly a new camera system? Because I know that once you design one, there's always the next generation of it. If it's anything like I have been involved with, you design one product, like I did all these things, I won't say wrong, but they can be improved. And now we're going to introduce Falcon 2.0, because we already have the Falcon 2, and there's nothing wrong with the camera system. It's just that the feedback you talked about, the feedback loop, and learning as you go along what's out there. And is there...
Sure. Yes to all of that. Chameleon had been out for about a year, and we were already looking ahead to Falcon. But the important thing is, Chameleon remains an excellent option for a lot of people. We're very excited about Falcon now. Falcon became available for pre-order. We launched that at CES just this last January, and it just became available for global public sales in March. It's available on Amazon now. So people are really just getting their first taste of Falcon and being able to see all the exciting features for it. But yes, in the future, there will be additional refinements to both Chameleon and Falcon, and probably additional sports added, additional features that become available. The TeamSnap partnership will go live a little bit later this summer. But yes, in terms of future products, there will be more to come. We'll keep developing new options and new improvements and making things better. I think the thing that will remain consistent, though, and our founder CEO, Dr. David Tan, he mentioned this in an interview recently. He was saying it's talking about finding that sweet spot, and I think you touched on this a little bit too, and it speaks to accessibility and to our driving principle of democratizing videography. You could, if you wanted to make the Hubble telescope version of the greatest camera ever, just bring together all the finest NVIDIA chips in the world and just make the most amazing piece of technology, but it would be inconceivably expensive and unrealistic for the average parent to have. At the other end of the spectrum, you could use very low-end chips and have very poor quality. So it's finding that sweet spot, and to be able to develop a prosumer camera that's less than $1,000 for us, considerably less than $1,000. And it's something that every parent can have and own for a lifetime. And they're in complete control of the device itself. They're in complete control of the footage. I think that's the main thing. It's finding that sweet spot for a device that has the level of quality and the level of usability, accessibility, and a reasonable price point for everybody. That's going to continue to be our goal. And I think we'll honestly be able to continue to bring costs down for the consumer.
I like hearing that, because at the end of the day, we spend a fortune on our youth sports in this country, and every little add-on, if it's not that expensive, or we can find a way to reduce the cost for families, it's huge.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of times from our customers that they'll say, oh, actually, my child's team or my child's league, they have this fixed camera system that they use, and I already have to pay for that. But frankly, it's the league using it. There's no guarantee that my child's team is even going to get covered with it. This is something where the parent gets to own the camera themselves, and they have 100% control over it. Right down to, you can make it follow your own child. The Chameleon has the follow me mode. Falcon will eventually have that. Follow me mode is so that you can do anything beyond the pre-programmed sports, but in terms of following an individual player, not only are you guaranteed your team's going to get covered, you can guarantee yourself that your child is going to be covered without having to point the camera yourself constantly on your phone or whatever camera that you're using. That you can program the camera to recognize your athlete and know that that athlete is going to be the star of your coverage.
So as a team, as I'm trying to do the team, I shouldn't do that. Okay, got it. I don't think they'll appreciate that. But no, that brings a good point. At the end of the day, I've seen there's a lot of camera systems that have that capability, but I have not seen it, so I don't know. I can't vouch for it. But I'm excited that you do have that Follow Me program, because it's not many do. I shouldn't say a lot. I know of one. I can only speak of one camera system that I know that have it outside of yours. So that says a lot that you thought that much into it. But the price point, I think, allows families to buy their own cameras and do it. I will say, you guys do not have a subscription fee, which is huge.
A lot of times people tell us that was the deciding factor for them, and we do hear that a lot, that okay, that's all I needed to hear, I'm in. We're very happy to provide that option for people who want to pay one time, own the camera, and for all the key functionality to be able to record the game. That's all you have to do, is purchase the camera.
And I think that's important, because at the end of the day, when we start playing with these products and start using them, I think the more we get comfortable with them, the more we are able to do more things on the fly, like setting up the scoreboard. Next time, this weekend, I know it won't take me 5 minutes to get everything set up for the scoreboard. It will literally take me a few minutes. It will take me a couple of minutes to do it, because I am the type that want to make sure I mark the color of the jerseys correctly. I want to make sure that everything's in line before I hit live. But also at the same time, if I get to the game late and I'm the one responsible for it, and they're like, here, just log into the camera and get it all set up, I know that's not going to take me the whole time to do it, and I can just click the live stream button and we're good to go. So there's a small little caveats like that are important to me as a parent. They may not mean anything to anyone else, but when you're live streaming it and your family's not there and they say, what color are you? I go, just like with pro sports, just look for the color next to the name and you're good to go. So you just tell them that once, and you don't have to retell them what color jerseys your kids are wearing, because everyone wears blue and white, it pretty much seems. So there's not much variance in jerseys. But is there anything that we have missed or that we can talk about that you can think of? Because I think this is important that we cover every aspect that we might have missed, because we've covered a lot of information.
Yeah, no, I think that it's just an exciting time right now. Falcon still feels new. Like I said, we had a great experience with it at CES. We had a chance to get a little bit of TV coverage across the country. A lot of media attention on CES, so that was where we launched pre-orders. Prior to that, we had a big debut with our Kickstarter launch, where we raised $2.5 million. So we had a really early indication that people were excited about this product. CES, we made it available for pre-orders, and as of March, anyone can go to XbotGo.com. As of April, anybody can go to Amazon.com and buy it and start using it today.
Awesome. My favorite question to ask, because you have a non-traditional background with everything, from, in my opinion, from a sport. So who's been the greatest influence on you as a reporter and now a PR person? And then I'm going to throw it out there with sports. Who's been the greatest influence on you with sports?
So for journalism, the biggest influence, this is one of those things where you can start thinking of top 5 and then wanting to narrow
It
it
can be
down.
multiple people, but this is your chance to give a shout out to people that have been there for you.
Sure. I think that probably the editor-in-chief of the Daily Trojan at USC, who gave me my first chance to write an editorial column and launched me on that, because that was a chance to have freedom to tell stories however you like. And then I often thought back to that, going, the further you rise within journalism, and particularly broadcast journalism, sometimes it can feel like there are additional limitations on you, there are additional editorial voices. But I sometimes think back to the freedom that I had as a student reporter for my university newspaper, just being able to tell whatever I want, turn in whatever I had, and for the most part they're like, all right, great, we'll run with it. So I think what stayed with me for that was the joy of it and the joy of storytelling. And then transitioning into PR and strategic communications and marketing, you're still storytelling. And I often talk about the similarity between if you start out as a prosecutor and then you go into the private sector as a defense attorney. It's a similar dynamic within the sort of communications industrial complex. When you start out as a reporter, and then when you make the transition and you're the one working with reporters to do media relations, you are able to make their job much easier because you have a better understanding of what they need to make their story. I also think it's very important to recognize that once you are on that other side, the main thing you need to do is recognize it's their story now, and to try not to manipulate it in a way that when you were the reporter, you would have resented the interference. For me, media relations now is about clearing a path for them to be able to tell the story that they want to tell. And that's usually the best way for it to work out for everybody. Now, you asked about sports influences. My first response to that as a fan, you think about your favorite athletes, and I would say Kobe Bryant and Roger Federer. It's because they're such different sports. I think that there's a similarity in terms of the pursuit of excellence. But I think, and before that, as a kid, it was John McEnroe. And so I think that what we can all relate to, whether we're a kid aspiring to be great at a sport, or as you get a little bit older and then you're just appreciating it as a fan, it's that common pursuit of excellence. And when you can see the top people who are considered contenders for greatest of all time, it's that commitment to excellence. And so I would love to be able to see that commitment, to inspire that commitment in young athletes in a way that it's coming from them and it's not being forced on them. Because when you're first starting out, you really need to have the freedom to really play in the game, and for it not to be, in order to learn the game, you have to learn how to play before you can learn how to win. And so I think it is important that at the very youngest level, you have to let children be able to develop their own joy and their own love for the game. And that will lead, hopefully, to a desire to win. And once they cross that threshold, then it's a matter of having this hero worship for our favorite athletes. And if you can see somebody like Kobe and somebody like Roger Federer and somebody like just whatever the sport is, Messi, whether it's anyone who is at the pinnacle of their sport, it's that self-discipline and that commitment to excellence and that drive to win and that drive to be better. That's how that can become a healthy thing, that whether people stay in competitive sports or whether they take that sense of competitive drive into other areas of life where they can pursue excellence in whatever it may be outside of the world of sports. I think that's how sports can be a great thing for everyone to have a lifelong commitment to participating in either playing or being a fan or just appreciating the sport.
Today's conversation with Gabriel got to the heart of something that every parent feels: the pull between capturing the moment and actually living it. Gabriel made the case that technology doesn't put more between you and your athlete's game. It takes the burden off you so you can be present. Whether it's the Falcon or the Chameleon, the idea is the same. Make game day video accessible, put family in control of their own footage, and let parents watch the game with their own eyes instead of through a screen. And underneath all that tech, Gabriel came back to something the show believes in deeply: that at the youngest age, athletes have to find their own joy and their own love for the game before the rest of it even matters. Learning to play before you learning to win. That message for every player, parent, and coach listening. Big thanks for Gabriel for joining me today. Hey everyone, if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, have enjoyed what I've been trying to do, the messages that I'm putting out there, please give me some ratings, some stars on all the podcast sites that you listen to this on. Give me a review, share this, share with others. The more I can make this grow, the more I can continue doing this. I'm really trying to make a difference in our soccer community. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all this. And until next time, I'll see you at the pitch.